Hello guys, we are going to understand the concept of functions in this session. Functions will help you in improving your code readability. So it is a kind of a modular thing. So functions are created to have specific functionality in your code. So in bash scripting, they are a great way to reuse code. Okay, let me give you an example of a calculator. So you see this calculator. There are different functions available. If I want to calculate the addition of two numbers or sum of two numbers, subtraction of, or I want to multiply two numbers, what I will do, I will give two numbers, 8, and then I want to use this particular function, 8 multiplied by 9 is 72. This is one function that is available in this, but it will only be active when I will be using it. So function is there. I have to call this function to get my work done, right? So let's suppose this is clearing the screen. This is one function. So this function and this function is entirely independent of each other. So many times I can reuse the code. Okay. And now if I want to divide this number by 3, so I will call this function. Okay. So these functions are there. This is the functionality of entire calculator. Calculator is an application which is providing these many functions, correct? So same way, our code will also be having some features. All the features will be having their own functionality. So whatever feature we want to use in our shell script, we will be creating a function for that. Okay. Let's suppose we are creating a script that is acting as a calculator, and we will be creating 4 functions. Sum, subtraction, multiplication, division. Okay. So if I have to perform sum of two numbers, I will be calling this function. If I have to perform subtraction, I'll be calling this function. Try to understand the terminology. Terminology is that we are defining this function, means we are writing a logic for these functions in our script, and after that we are calling these functions whenever needed. Are you guys with me on this? So I have just written the function, this function. I can call it as many times whenever needed. I don't need to repeat this code again and again. Let's suppose these are the two commands which I want to execute when I will be starting my script, when I will be ending my script. So I can simply call this function. I don't need to write these commands again and again. That's why it is considered as a great way to reuse your existing code. Okay, let me give you a few examples that will give you more clarification. Okay, so we will be taking an example where we are going to learn how we will be defining a function and how we will be invoking a function. Print message.sh. I'm writing this script. Okay. I'm just printing this message. Hello world. So this is printing. Okay. So let's suppose I have to print this hello world 5-6 times. I don't want to repeat this same code. And also after that, I want to print the date. If I have to execute these two commands at the start of the script, in the middle of the script, or the end of the script. So I have to write 6 commands in total. So that will not be a good practice, right? So how we can do that? So we can define functions like this: function name, round brackets, and curly braces. Okay. Or you can also write a keyword called function. I would be preferring this method. I'm going to create a function called message. Print my message. So I'm going to define it this way. Okay. So what all commands are there? I will paste it here. So I have written the message. Okay. So now let me explain you one thing. So this is the script in which this is the shell which my script will be using. These are commands. And this is, I have defined one function, but I have not used it. Function is there. Unless and until I call this function, this will never be invoked. This will never be executed. Let's check that. Print message. So there is no message. So what I will do, now I will call it. The first thing is you have to define function. And after that, defining defining function, print my message. Okay. So now how you will be invoking function. Invoking means calling function. So you will just give the name of the function, print my message. That's it. So now in this script, here I am defining my function. This is the definition of the function where I have written whenever I will be calling this, what is going to happen. It is going to execute these two commands, which are in these curly braces. So now how I will be executing, how will I be calling this function? When this function will be called, to do that, you just have to write the name. Automatically, when script will see, this is the definition. It gets stored in the memory. Okay, this is defined. Now, whenever you will execute this, so there is no such command, but in this script, there is one function which you have defined. Control will go here and it will execute all the commands which are here. See, it is printing. Okay, now I will execute again. Now the date has changed. It was 6:25:45 when I executed. It was 6:25:51. So now if I will again execute it, it will be 59. So it keeps on changing. So what all you will be mentioning here in this function, it will be executed. So let me show you one other example. Okay. So let's suppose I create one more function called, yeah, end of script. Okay. So there is one function called end of script. So if your script is successfully executed, so you will be printing one message like this. Script execution. You can say execution completed. Okay, you want to print like this. So now again, let me show you what exactly it is. So now there are two functions. This is one function, this is second function. Okay. So let's suppose when I'm starting my script, I'm just sending this message. And when I have completed my work in this script, I want to call this method. Okay. So what is going to happen now? But I'm only using, I have defined two functions, but I'm only using one as of now. Correct? So if you have defined n number of functions, only those functions will be called which you will be invoking or which you will be calling. Okay. This is just a definition. It will only be used when you will be calling it. So in this case, you are only calling this function. So that's why it is getting printed. So let me call another function. The name of another function is end of script. Print message. So you see, this is the first two lines are coming from this function and the last two lines are coming from this function. So let me call this. Let me make it more nicer actually. I'm creating one function called check underscore date, in which it checks the date and give me the output. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, in the middle of the script, then I'm calling one function called check underscore date. Then I'm doing this. So you see now in this script, there are three functions which are defined. This is function number one, this is function number two, this is function number three. All these functions have different features and functionality. This is just printing a message. This is checking date. This is just giving me one message when my script gets over. So right now, if you see, I'm calling this first function, then I'm printing using one command just to print something on my terminal. And after that, I'm calling the second function and then third function. Okay. Step by step, we are building our code. This is called modular scripting, where you are adding modules in the form of functions. Each module is independent of each other. You see, this is first function. After that, it just printed this, and then date command got executed. And after that, this last function got executed. Okay. Let me explain you again. So this is the shell in which my script will be running. These are commands. So I'm defining three functions. If you want to define functions, you have to give the function name, round brackets, and then curly braces. In curly braces, it starts like this. Okay, so this is one function definition. The name of this function is print my message. I'm defining second function, check underscore date. So round brackets, curly braces. We are only checking date by executing this command. There's a third function like this. So now if I have three functions. I'm calling in this sequence. It is possible that you want to check date first and then call this function. Okay. So the order of your invocation can vary. So you can execute any functions the way you like in any order. So, but the main thing is, before you call these functions definitions have to be defined. Okay. Functions have to be defined before you call it. Thank you.